Now that we can select our objects, let's work on transforming them. And unfortunately, I don't mean this in the Decepticon or Autobot sense of the word, I just mean our basic movement. We can find our transform properties for any object in the properties editor. And it's the one that's open by default, but just to make sure, it's the orange square here with the 4 corners around it. Those are our object properties. The first panel is the transform panel, and here we have location, rotation, and scale. If we just click and drag on any one of the location axes, we can move it along the x-axis, move it along the y-axis, or move it along the z-axis. Or if you want to type in any specific number, then you can just type it in here. So I can just set it to 1, 1, and 1, and that's where it's going to exist in the world now. A couple handy tricks when it comes to dealing with these number fields in Blender. First of all, a lot of them are going to be a little bit touchy. In this case, this ends up working pretty well. I can just left click and drag my mouse around in order to maneuver this how I want. But let's say I'm zoomed in really, really close, and that's just moving it way too much. Well, what I can do is just hold down Shift and then left click and drag, and that's going to move it a lot more slowly. So this is helpful all over Blender. Another thing that's helpful here is, let's say I just dragged it, way too off to the side here, and I want to reset it all to 0, 0, 0, or 1, 1, 1, whatever it is. I can left click on the top one and drag down through the other ones, and let's just set them all to, let's say 2. Then they're all going to be set to 2, 2, 2. So you can change multiple values in a row like this, and it's really fast. You can also reset any input back to its default by hovering over it with your mouse and hitting backspace. Another cool little fun fact is that you can do any math that you want inside of these. So let's just say you wanted to do 2 plus 5, and for whatever reason you didn't want to pull out a calculator. Let's just say 2 plus 5. Then you can just type that out inside of the number field and hit enter, and it'll do the math for you and tell you that that's 7. Now it's kind of a simple example, but if you wanted to, divide this by, 263 or whatever, for whatever particular reason, then you can just do any of that math in here, and it'll come up with the right answer for you. But I'll go ahead and set this back to 0, 0, 0 here. And let's look at rotation. Just in the same way, I can rotate it along the x-axis, the y-axis, or the z-axis. Now we haven't really talked about axes a whole lot yet, as it's kind of just assumed that in 3D space, we have an x, y, and a z-axis, and we can see that in the 3D viewport. Y is always represented by green, x is always represented by red, and z is represented by blue. You can also see that here in the axis gizmo here at the top that we looked at when it comes to navigation. Remember that in Blender, the z-axis is up and down, and the 2D plane, the x and the y plane, is when you're looking at things from the top view. The dimension of depth is going up and down. Next, let's look at scale. I'm going to skip the rotation mode because that's a lot more complicated of an issue, which we'll talk about in later courses. So I'll set the rotation back to 0, 0, 0 here. And you can see we can also scale along the x-axis, the y-axis, or the z-axis. Now, it would be pretty tedious to have to go to the properties editor every time that we want to move or rotate or scale something. So we can also do that via the toolbar. Over here on the left side of the 3D view, we have a bunch of tools that we can use. So far, we've just looked at the selection tools at the top, but now let's look at this second section, which is the transform tools. I'll select the first one and use our move tool. That's going to give us this gizmo with the X, Y, and Z axes. So I can very easily click and drag on any of these arrows to move it along that axis. So the red one is the X axis, the green one is the Y axis, and the blue one is the Z axis. If I click and drag on the white circle that's in the middle here, I can move it along any axis, but according to the view. These little squares are really helpful as well, because if you click and drag on those, you'll move them along 2 axes at the same time. This one between the x-axis and the y-axis is blue, and that indicates that it'll move in any direction except on the z-axis. So I can click and drag and move it around that z plane. I can also move it around the x plane, or the y plane. Next, let's select the rotation tool. In a very similar manner, I can rotate this along the x-axis, the y-axis, or the z-axis. If I click and drag on the white circle that surrounds these, then I can rotate it according to the view. One hotkey that might be helpful here for you is holding down the Control key while you do this will help it to snap to even increments. So if I start rotating this and then hold down Control, you'll see there are a bunch of ticks that go around the circle. And so I can easily snap it to rotating, let's say 90 degrees or 45 degrees or whatever I need to. Now, after I move or rotate anything, I'm going to get this little pop-up here in the bottom left. And by default, it's collapsed. But if I go ahead and expand that, then I can see exactly how much I rotated this by. And in this case, it's 95 degrees. If you wanted to rotate this by some exact increment, then you could just type it in here. But this is really hard to see here with this angled in kind of an odd direction. So I'll set the rotation back to 0, 0, 0 in the properties editor. Now let's say I wanted to rotate this by exactly 45 degrees in the X direction. Well, I could either just click and drag on the X axis in the rotation tool, hold Control, and try to snap exactly. But let's say I get it a little bit off. Then I can always just type in 45 degrees here in the Redo panel and then click Enter. So this little pop-up is called the Redo panel or the Adjust Last Operation panel. That's going to allow you to change the values of whatever you just did in the viewport. I'll go ahead and set the X rotation back to 0 now, and let's look at scale. If we grab our Scale tool here, then we can scale along the X axis, the Y axis, or the Z axis, or along all the axes if I click and drag the white circle. Now, if you're particularly observant, you might have noticed that there's a little tiny corner indicating that there's more tools next to the Scale tool. Just like how this one has a little tiny corner in the bottom right where we can click and hold and access more tools that are similar. Same thing here, we can switch from the Scale tool to the Scale Cage tool. So again, click and hold on the tool and go down to Scale Cage. Now you can click on any one of these points and manipulate it in a little bit more of a familiar way if you're more used to tools like Photoshop, but in 3 dimensions. Try clicking and dragging on one of the dots in the middle of the faces or on one of the corners. Lastly, we have the all-in-one transform tool here at the bottom. With this one, we can click and drag the arrows to move, click and drag the circles to rotate, or click and drag the little boxes in order to scale. And if at any point you do something by accident or you want to reverse it, then you can hit Control-Z like in most programs to undo. So I'll hit Control-Z a couple times and get us back to our basic cube. We only have a limited number of undo steps though, so it won't get us back all the way. So if you want to completely reset things, you could either set them manually in the Transform panel in the Properties editor, but let's say here I want to take the scale and set it back to 1, 1, 1. Instead of doing that from the Properties editor, I can also go to Object, Clear, and Scale. That will do the exact same thing as setting 1, 1, 1 as the scale in the Properties editor. I don't really like looking at this gizmo here, so I'm actually going to go back to my Select tool. And I want to show you that I can do that exact same thing, but for rotation and location. So I'm just going to change my location a little bit here, change my rotation, and then go to Object, Clear, and Location, and then Object, Clear, and Rotation. Now we're back to the default cube. So using our tools over here on the left was a lot faster than using the Properties editor, but there's an even faster way to do it, and that's with hotkeys. That's what most people are going to be doing most of the time if you're watching a tutorial, so it's definitely well worth getting into your muscle memory now if you can. I'll zoom in on this box here, and to grab something and move it around, we just hit the G key. So hit G, that'll jump you right into the transformation, and then you can move your mouse around. To confirm, left click. This works a little bit differently from other programs because as soon as you hit G, it jumps you right into the action. It takes a little bit of time to get used to if you're coming from another 3D app, but in my opinion, it's a lot faster to work with because there are just fewer clicks. If you want to constrain your movement to just one axis like we were doing before, then you can type that axis in after you hit G while it's still in that move mode. So let's say I want to move this only on the X axis. Well, I can just hit G to move, and then while I'm still in the mode of moving it around before I hit anything else, I can just hit X. Now I can move my mouse around and it'll move it just on the X axis. Then I can left click again to confirm. To move it on the Y axis, I just hit G, Y, and then move my mouse, left click to confirm. And of course for Z, we can hit G to move, Z for the Z axis, and left click to confirm. One handy thing to know about moving with the hotkeys is that you can also type in numbers. So let's say that I want to move this 2 units along the y-axis. Well, instead of hitting G and then Y, and then left clicking to confirm, and then going down to the redo panel and typing in 2 manually, I could just hit G, Y, type in 2, and then hit enter. That'll move it exactly 2 units. It's also helpful to know that our shift hotkey works here as well. So if we're moving this around and we find that we're moving it a little bit too fast, we can move it just ever so slightly by holding down the shift key. That's going to slow everything down for us and help us be really precise. Just like we have the G hotkey for grabbing an object, we have the R hotkey for rotating the object. So just hit R, and then you can rotate it according to the screen. And just like before, you can use the X to rotate around the X, the Y key to rotate around the Y, or the Z key to rotate it around the Z axis. Let's also do that with scale. The hotkey for that is just S. So hit S, move your mouse around to scale things up or down. Let's say we want to scale this and make it exactly twice as big, then I can just hit 2 on my number pad and then hit enter. If I want to make something half as big, then I can use the value of 0.5. So I'll hit S, 0.5, and click enter. Of course, we can also scale along the 3 axes as well. So hit S, and then X to scale along the X-axis, S and then Y to scale along the Y-axis, and then S and Z to scale along the Z-axis, and use left click to confirm. One thing that's not particularly obvious here is that when you're using rotation and scale, the amount that you move the object by is determined by the distance between the object and your cursor. So if you hit R to rotate, and you rotate your mouse around the object, it's going to move pretty fast if your mouse is really close to the center of that object, which is that little orange dot. However, if you pull your mouse farther out and give yourself a bigger radius to work with, you can be a little bit more exact. So closer in with bigger movements, farther out with more subtle movements. Your mouse will also wrap around the screen if it goes off to the side. Then left click to confirm. Another helpful hotkey to know if we don't want to go to Object and Clear to clear our rotation, you can see that we have the hotkeys listed on the right of the menu, which is Alt-G, Alt-R, and Alt-S. So that's just undoing any grabbing, rotation, or scaling. So to bring this back to the center, I'll just hit Alt-G. To unrotate it, I'll hit Alt-R. And to unscale it, I'll hit Alt-S. So even though we've just talked about how to move, rotate, and scale our objects in this video, that's still a lot of information. Now, if you're just starting out, I would recommend first using the tools on the toolbar and getting used to those. It's pretty visual and intuitive, so just by getting used to these 3, I'll switch back to the scale tool by clicking and holding on the scale one, but just by using these 3, you'll be able to do any operation. Now, as soon as you're comfortable with that and you're ready to use hotkeys, then I would recommend learning those as soon as possible because they're a lot faster to use. But if you find it a little bit overwhelming at first to have to remember all of these hotkeys, then just don't worry about it. It doesn't really matter which method you use as long as it works for you. I would recommend at least trying out all the different things in this video though before moving on to the next lesson.